Loading, loading. Hot dots being prepared. Six scheme initiated. Empty bunch activated.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ergo, and I hope you enjoyed that intro. I spent a lot of time on it for some reason. I don't know why, but I hope you liked it. Anyway, let's just get into why you're here for this empty bunch scheme. I've been running this formation for a few years now, and I really like it this year. It's got really easy reads, and it can block any blitz, and it's just a fun formation to run. The plays we're going to be focusing on are these ones to the left there, that Y curl, QB draw, verticals, and trail. We're also going to be running this Z spot and go. And those are about the 5 plays I like to use. I also like to use the spacing play side like the 10, and I'll show you what I'm talking about later in the video. But now we're going to be running these 4 or 5 plays. Now, this formation can be found in the Washington, Jacksonville, Pittsburgh, Seattle, and Carolina playbooks. There is one play, that trail play, that is only in Washington and Carolina. So this scheme can be run at some version with all those playbooks, but if you want to run it the exact way I'm running it, Washington or Carolina are where you have to go. So the first thing we're going to go over is this Z spot, and it's my favorite play in the game. It's such an easy read. The only adjustment I make to the play is turning this B spot route into a streak. So that's how your play art should look. The first receiver we're going to be looking at is this RB, this flat route. So this is a simple high-low read, and this is the low read. It's a really easy route to hit. If your opponent isn't running hard flats or has this guy manned up, and if he's not manned up by a corner or a safety, if he's manned up by a linebacker like inside of him, this route's going to get open. It's easy yards. It's one of my favorite places in the game, and this is one of my favorite routes to hit. It is just so 1st and 10, throw this route, get yourself 6, 7, 8 yards, more sometimes, depending on who you got catching the ball. And yeah, enjoy. This route is super effective this year, and it's part of what makes this play so great. So the next route we're going to look at is this A, this tight end corner, and it's going to be the high read in your low high read. And again, I'll try to let these clips speak for themselves. I don't have a very good MUT team. Mine's okay, but I play against guys with much better MUT teams, and I'm able to run this scheme and still be effective with it. So this A route is going to be your tight end. So you want a big, fast tight end. You obviously want the best players at every position, but for this position especially, we're going to be throwing to the tight end a lot. I have Pitts, and he works just fine. So like I said, this is the low-high read. If you look at RB and they're running hard flats, then you instantly go to A. A will get over the top of these flats, and it's also your man-beating route. If they're running man, unless they have some crazy ability for man coverage, this route typically beats man. So this is my man read. If I look at RB, it's man covered. I'm looking straight to A after that. You're going to get big chunk yards on this. So the next route I like to look at is this B route, and I kind of read them all simultaneously. This is definitely not your go-to route on this play. If you look at RB and A and neither of them are open, sometimes this B will just slip behind the zones. It used to be a good cover 3 beater, but they kind of nerfed it. So this isn't a route I throw a lot, but I did want to show you that it can be thrown. If they're locking up that flat corner combination, then this B can sometimes just get behind all the zones. So definitely keep an eye on it. So the last route we're going to look at is this X route, and it's going to kind of tie this whole play together. There will be times when the high-low read on the right and the streak combo is covered. Either they're double Mabled or is usering or whatever. This X route is your bailout route. It can beat man because it's got that curled off in. It's not just a smart routed in. So it'll beat man with a low throw, and it'll get between pretty much any zone. If you look to the right and no one's open, this X route is coming open underneath, I promise. It's really what makes this play so effective. It's one of my favorite plays, and it's because of this route right here. So the next play we're going to be looking at is this Verts. It's one of the most deadly plays in the game. It's good out of regular bunch and it's good in empty bunch. The only adjustment we're really going to make is motioning this B receiver out, and that's just going to give us an easier read on the wheels. So the first read you're going to make are these two wheels, and you're going to have to read them simultaneously. It's a pretty easy read. If they're in cover 3 or cover 4, then this wheel on the outside is going to get open immediately. It's like years past. One of them will that outside one will get open if they're not in cover 2 or man coverage. But I like to read them at the same time. If they do, like you'll see on that play, if all the zones kind of commit to that outside wheel, that inside wheel will just have plenty of room. Especially if you hit it enough. Sometimes a user will just shoot out there and you can slip it on the inside and get it into that inside wheel. Now that inside wheel is your running back, so you do want to have a running back with good catching. I have Najee Harris and he actually just works fine. But this is an easy read. Both wheels at the same time. If the outside wheel is not open, look towards the inside wheel. So now the other two routes, this Y and A, and they're really deadly crossing bunch. With the wheels on the outside and the A crosser and the Y underneath this slant, it's a really tough play to start. But the next play I'm going to show you, or the next route I'm going to show you, is this Y route, and why it's so important. It can beat zone and it can beat man. It's a really just tough route to stop over the middle. So I'll go through these clips, but like I said, I'm always looking towards the wheel. And if I hit that route enough, people start to go user, and that leaves this Y underneath. Again, it beats man. I've got Allworth with route tech at that position because there's a play later where he's going to need good route running, but this slant will beat man regardless of the abilities you have, and it'll kind of sit in the middle of zones. If you look to the right, you look towards both of those wheels, and they're somehow both locked up, look directly down to this Y, and it'll be open most times. So the next route we're going to look at, or the last route in this play, is going to be this A route, this deep crosser. It's one of the best routes in the game, especially if you have a good tight end there. It beats man, it beats zones. You have to have perfect zone drops or user this route. It is really deadly. And again, I'll just let the clips speak for themselves. This route gets open, and this play is really, really tough to stop. This is kind of the last route I throw to, the last route I look at. Sometimes I'll throw the streak on the outside to that X receiver, but typically you hike the ball, you look at the two wheels, none of them are open. You look underneath to Y, he's using it, or it just doesn't look open. This A route is going to get open late. It's going to be your last read, and you can get really, really just big chunk yards. So the next play I want to show you is this trail route. With the first two plays, the Z spot and the verticals, I like to run them if I'm in the middle of the field or if I'm the left hash mark. This is one of the plays I like to run if I'm on the right hash mark. It just gives this Y route a little more room, and the B route is going towards the inside of the field, so it doesn't need a lot of sideline room. The only adjustments I like to make here is I'll streak this X just to clear out the room for Y, and then I'm going to put RB in a flat or block them. Sometimes I'll block them. It's not a route you're going to throw to a lot. It's kind of just a distraction route or a route for better spacing. And then the last thing you do is you put this B in motion just to give this route a little more room to run. So the first route you're going to want to look at is this Y route. So this Y route's going to tell you whether they're in man or zone. If they are in man, this is the route you hit. I have Allworth there, and I have route tech on him, which is nice. But this route can typically beat man, even without the ability, just to have a receiver there with some speed or some good route running. But yeah, this is your first read. If they're in man, you hit this. If they're in any kind of zone that's not 15 to 20 yard drops, this will either get in front or behind the zones. This is such a good route. It is one of my favorite in the game. I know I say that a lot, but a lot of these routes are just really easy to hit, really easy reads. And this is no exception. So this is the first read. It's going to tell you whether it's man or zone. If it's man, hit this. If it's zone and it's covered, you look to something else. So the next route we're going to be looking at is this A route, this tight end drag across the field. So this is similar to the high-low read with the Z spot on the right, except for this time, instead of an out route or a flat route, you're getting a drag. Some of the benefits of getting a drag are that they beat man better, and they tend to sit down in zones a little better, especially against like zone drops that haven't quite dropped to where they're going. But it's an easy read. You first look at that Y. If they are playing, deep zone drops or 15, 20, 25 yards, and this A route comes right underneath, just hit it. You'll get, 8 to 10 yards. If they're in man coverage, you can hit it. You'll get a nice chunky yards. This Y route and A route combination is really tough to stop. It's something I go to a lot, especially when I'm on the right hash mark. So the last route we're going to look for on this play is this B route. And it's another reason this play is so special, because you can't really get that kind of angled route, that 10-yard angle in route through Hot Route Master or any kind of route special abilities. It's unique, and the reason I like to motion it out is it just gets more space. It should just be by itself inside, because it will beat man, it will beat zone. This will kind of be your bailout route. I don't really look towards X, and I don't really throw that RB flat too much. I do throw it every now and then. I don't have any clips for it, because I think the three routes you want to focus on are that Y route, that A route, and that B route. All right, so the next play we're going to be talking about is this Y curl. The only adjustment I really make is taking this RB, this weird curl, and just turn it into a regular curl. I like it to be centralized in the middle of the field, and I'll show you why later. But the first route we're going to look at here is this X route, and it is just a really deadly zone beater. So like many of the other first reads in this formation, this is going to tell you what coverage they're in. This slant and up is what I'll call it. If that outside corner follows them, obviously they're in man. But if he doesn't, they're in zone. And if they're in zone, this route is going to get open unless it's usered or manned up by someone inside. It is so good against cover 2, cover 4, cover 3. It's one of my favorite routes. And it's a quick read. You see how I'm throwing this 8 to 12 yards past the line of scrimmage. It is a really deadly route, and it's something you should utilize in your offense, and it's what makes this play so good. So the next route we're going to look at is this B drag route. So this B route is so nice because it's like a squared in drag. So if you look at X and it's not open, either they're in man coverage or they're in some kind of zone that covers X, this B is going to get right underneath all that deep coverage. It's a really nice route, especially if you have a quick receiver there. If they are in man, they're typically manned up. It's typically that corner on the outside. So once this drag gets that kind of square in burst, it can beat man. So this is the next read in the progression. Look at X, it's not open. Look right under to B. So the last route we're going to look at is this RB, this curl in the middle of the field. So if you look at X, it's man coverage or it's just not open. And you look at B, and they're either using it or it's just not open for whatever reason. RB is going to kind of just sit in the middle of the field and be your bailout route. I really don't hit any of the other routes on this play, either X, B, RB. This RB is nice because it'll beat man coverage. You kind of just have to low ball. And your running back will kind of just body out the defender, but it's a really nice bailout route. It's a really nice way to end this play. So again, you look at X, it's not open. You look at B, he's usering. RB sitting right in the middle of the field for an easy read. So those are the main 4 plays I use out of this formation, but there are a couple more things I want to show you. One is this Z spot and go play. It's the same high-low read as the first play I showed you, the Z spot with the B going on a streak, but you can mix this in with the spot and go and really get some big yards. The only routes I throw here really are on the right. I either throw the high-low to RB or A, or I'll throw B on this spot and go and surprise them. So the only route we're going to talk about here is this B route, this spot and go. I've already shown you the high-low read for the first play, the Z spot, but this play is a great play to mix in just because of this route alone. So like I said, if you've been using that Z spot, your opponent's going to start kind of edging over there towards that flat route or that corner. And if you throw in this little Z spot, you can get some big yards. You see right here, he just sometimes just wide open. Just because your opponent's so focused on the right side of the field, they just aren't expecting this. And it's a really nice route to mix in just to get big, important yards. So this formation can also be used in the red zone, and this is one of my favorite red zone bailout plays. It's called spacing, and it's a really easy read, and if you're having trouble moving the ball like inside the 5, this is the play you need to go to. So I basically break it up into 2 easy reads, the flats and then the curls. I don't really throw this X route just because it's usered so much. If you can find a way to mix it in, feel free, but it's kind of more of a distraction route for me. The flats and curls are really what you're looking at here. So first I look to the flats, that RB in particular. If it's open, hit it. And a lot of times, if they're in man coverage or if they're in some kind of zone that glitches out, this RB is just going to be all by itself on the right side of the field. So first, flats. Now, if the flats aren't open, you look to A and you look to B. These curls are so deadly in the red zone. They just kind of sit in between all of the zones, and even if they're in man, you can just lowball it, and your receiver will kind of just body out whoever's covering them. This flat zone combination is really, really good this year, especially in the red zone if we're having trouble moving the ball. So I always feel like no scheme is really complete without some kind of run component. Now this QB draw really is not as good as it was in years past, but there is a time and a place, especially if you have a quarterback that can move. If you're playing a guy who drops everyone into coverage, rushes 2 or 3, you could sneak this in every now and then. Even towards the goal line, I'll run it a little bit. It's not something that's going to get you consistent yards, but it is something you could sneak in. So I wanted to show a few clips from this as well. So not a ton to look at here, but like I said, there are moments where this can be something that helps you out.
Again.
Go, Vince Young!
Yes!
So that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed making it. I know it was a little sloppy at points, but I'll definitely brush up on that. If you do like what you saw, I do stream on Twitch at twitch.tv/ergophobiattv. Yeah, feel free to ask me any questions in the comments or come watch me stream and ask me there. Appreciate you guys. Love ya. I'm out.